All right, guys. We are now beginning our first podcast, Think Deep podcast. My name is David, and this is Andrew here, and we're just kind of starting out. So hope you guys enjoy it, and take it away. So Andrew here lives in. Go ahead, Andrew, if you want to kind of go ahead and talk about where you're coming from.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Andrew. I was actually born in South Korea, but raised in the United States. I came here at a very early age, so that's why I don't have an accent, although sometimes I do have a southern accent come out every once in a while. And the reason why that is because I grew up in North Carolina.
All right, yeah, and then me and Andrew, we've been buddies for the longest, and we always have really interesting conversations, and I think we were always are kind of on a mission to find 8 hours that doesn't suck, and so part of a side thing it is that we really love interesting conversations and interesting people, and we kind of trying to figure out a way we can turn that into some type of outlet because we're kind of pretty creative people and we're interested in so many different things. I know I would say the first thing for me, Andrew, that I kind of woke up this morning to was the whole like Donald Sterling with the Magic Johnson type of thing there. Man, what is up with that, man? What do you think about that? I definitely want to hear about that from you.
All right. Well, I saw a little clip on CNN, or actually, it was actually on ESPN, but they were rebroadcasting what CNN had aired because they interviewed Donald Sterling, and he said that in this, I'm just paraphrasing here, that he believed Magic Johnson wanted him to sit there and not do anything so that way he could buy the team out. I mean, honestly, I don't think that was ever really. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: human beings are undermining,
Right.
if they can be. As far as that, using that as a tactic to buy out a team, I just don't see it. I mean, Donald Sterling's the millionaire, maybe a billionaire, I'm not too sure, but he got there for a reason. He's not
He's definitely a billionaire.
Right, so he's not a dumb guy. You know what I mean? Granted, he had his dumb moments.
I disagree. I feel like he's a dumb guy with a lot of money. Because I feel like the second interview was so like it didn't help him at all. Like it didn't help his cause.
Well, no, it didn't help him at all. But what I'm saying is, like, generally speaking, if you have that much money, let me rephrase that. If you're that successful in life, you're not that successful because you're an idiot. Now, again, sorry about that. People will have their dumb moments.
Yeah.
I have my dumb moments plenty of times. So, no matter how high you get in life or how low you are in life, you're going to have your dumb moments.
Yeah.
Donald Sterling included. Michael Jackson had one when he thought he was at the MTV Movie Awards many years back. He thought he was receiving an award, but he was presenting an award. He looked like an idiot on stage. So everyone has their dumb moments. Donald Sterling just happens to have a string of many dumb moments strung together, which may make you think he's a dumb person. But if you're that successful, you can't be, by Webster's definition, dumb.
Okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but like my whole thing is that the thing that really kind of struck it over me was the whole comments that he made about Magic Johnson. Like, I mean, Anderson Cooper, he's talking to him, and like Magic Johnson just kind of set him off. He goes, "Come on, really? Let's think about it. What has Magic Johnson really done?" Like, he goes, "He's not a role model. The guy has AIDS. He was going around." He goes, "Well, actually has HIV." He goes, "Well, whatever." It was like he was so insensitive to that, and then he was like, "He's not really a role model," and things like that. And it's just like, first of all, I don't know by billionaire standards, like maybe by billionaire standards, like he hasn't done a lot. But then again, Magic Johnson didn't come from money, okay? He worked his way playing basketball all the way to the NBA, became multiple MVPs, has won multiple championships. Not only that, after basketball, he goes and he starts his own an entrepreneurship of owning businesses and becomes a multimillionaire, even more successful outside of basketball, starts owning different teams as the Dodgers and stuff like that. For like, how many people do you know can do that? And to say that this guy, like, what has he really done? Like, to me, that was just so disrespectful. Like to we got to understand, like, I understand this is an old guy, so if an 8-year-old says some racist stuff, I'm not that surprised. But for him to like to say that about Magic and stuff, I'm like, why is he just so throwing Magic's name in the mud?
Well, the thing is, like I said, just he's 80 years old. He's not. He can't be all up there in the head by this point, which is obviously shown through his actions. Now, before I say anything else, I just want to let those listeners and you, of course, Dave, know that I'm not defending his actions in any way, shape, or form. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see why he said it. And to be honest with you, with something like this, it's not something that you can understand. Or anyone for that matter. It's just something that only he knows in his head.
Hey, it's highly entertaining though.
Yeah, it's entertaining, but I mean, it's I don't know. You know me, I don't really like drama in terms of I don't really care for it. Will I watch drama on TV? Yes, but drama in real life.
That's one of the things that separates us, because I've always rooted for people like T.O. like to me, like him doing like sit-ups on in front of his driveway while people are doing interviews with me.
So then you're supposed to be rooting for Sterling then.
I rooted for the chaos, because this is just hilarious, because like you can't write this like this. We're living in idiocracy. Like this is happening. Like it's so subtle. Like who would have thought?
It's not subtle. It's not subtle. What do you mean subtle? Subtle would be something where we wouldn't even hear it in the media. We wouldn't even hear about it. It'd be something that Michael Jordan said to Scottie Pippen on the bench one day, and then that was that. That's subtle. And then maybe 50 years later it creeps out, kind of like what's her name? The lady who got in trouble for using the N-word, the Southern cook.
Paula D. Yeah.
Like 20 years ago she said that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's in the past. Like I've said some terrible things in the past. Like, if we're all held to that, like it just makes no sense that, I mean, and I feel for the celebrities or the people who are out there, with no privacy.
Yeah.
So I feel really bad for them. I do, but I don't at the same time. They make it more money, so yeah, handle it. But then again, they can't live a normal life.
Right.
They can't just go to the grocery store or to the bar or wherever they might want to go. But that's the cost of fame.
Well, to me, I feel like this is a representation of like what technology has leveled the playing field. I feel that the technology to me is like right now, everybody now has a cell phone in their pocket and they can hit record. That is a form of democracy that did not used to exist anymore. Because let's say, like before, there used to be a string of these videos. You can still find these things called bum fights, where like they would just beat up these homeless dudes randomly and film them. Yeah, stuff like that. But now, like, that started happening, and then, like, this homeless dude with a flip phone records it, and they catch that guy, and they put them on jail. And I feel like before, like, let's say the big corporate fat cats or anything like that, there's a lot of these little racist, good old boy people, whatever. And let's say, like, it was a politician. Like, a politician could go in some bumfuck town, like, a long time ago and say something, like, racist to a crowd for a rise or anything like that. But now, like, that gets broadcast on YouTube. And so, like, those people who were untouchable before can now be touched by anybody. That did not used to exist. Like, this whole thing of even our internet and like how it works with the banking system and stuff, things like Anonymous. I mean, Anonymous shows you every day, like, you know what, you guys aren't running things. Like, the people do have the power now. And so
Dave, before you go on, you might want to explain to the listeners what if they don't know what Anonymous is.
Okay, so Anonymous is it is a group of people who kind of have like this mission. I would say like a team of hackers. I guess if you want to label that way, but hacker kind of has a bad connotation to it. But they kind of are. We have like in the past this idea of this one leader. Well, these are actually a team of unknowns who have kind of taken this internet liberty kind of righteous thing of trying to do and expose things that either people want to hear or what they feel is right. So I know that when it comes to someone having control of that, it definitely you have to take a moral sense to it. And I think some of the things that they've done, I have to say that I'm in agreement with. Because I feel like there's a lot of people in the government and things like that who are worried that they're losing control of this, and times are definitely changing.
What is this? Control of this? What is that? What do you mean by that?
The internet itself is a way that everybody can see something at the same time. And with that said, it's like harder to like bullshit now. And I think a lot of that was happening before. It's harder to like kids now. You can't like really lie to kids now because like they have Google on their phone. They're smarter now. They learn things quicker. If they want to know something, like immediately before, like you had to go in a fucking book. You had to have like Encyclopedia Britannica if you wanted to know information. So, anyways, when I say that, when control of this wave of movement of the way money moves, when it comes to things like PayPal and things like that, the government really wants their hand in a lot of things, and they want to block certain things and have you see certain things. And the internet kind of destroys all of that. And they don't really know, I guess, how to contain that. I know some other countries have taken the liberty to try to contain it as best as possible. But I feel like when it comes to America, because there's laws like the SOPA Act, when it comes to a lot of different things of going into your privacy and reading your emails. Like, I kind of understand both sides of the argument. I don't want somebody looking through my shit, but at the same time, I understand that maybe terrorism itself, like after watching stuff like Homeland, maybe we do have to go in to, I guess, into people's emails and things like that to find this higher level of acts of terror and things like that. I understand both sides.
Right.
But I feel like the government is very scared of knowing that groups like Anonymous can access things that before would be top classified information. And they really can't escape that.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is they're pretty much getting, the medicine right back at them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They try to do that to us. Someone's doing it right back to them and they don't like it. It's a double standard is what it is, in my opinion. It's like the whole Edward Snowden thing. Some people call him a traitor. Some people call him, a hero. And it's funny. It depends on who you ask, obviously. But some of the things he released, yeah, it does jeopardize, the safety of our troops. So, and that's never good as far as, I know some people are against war and against things like that. However, keep in mind, when you join the military, you're not joining to go to war generally unless you get drafted.
Right.
When you join the military, you do it to serve your country, whether it's peacekeeping missions, sending food over, or just training, you know what I mean, to be in preparation. Teddy Roosevelt, back in the day said that, he speaks quietly but carries a big stick. Mm-hmm. And that was his foreign relation policy. Mm-hmm. Have a big military to prevent or to deter other nations from doing anything, stupid. And so when Eric Snowden did what he did, we got some great information out of it, things that light needed to be shed on. But he also revealed things that were, it was just indiscriminate. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying. So at what point do you say, okay, it's because of that makes it a lot tougher for someone to stand on one particular side or the other on that particular fence. Unless you are in big government or unless you are the little guy with, no care about, your country. A lot of people who complain about certain things in this country, they don't realize how good they have it. And they don't realize that there's people over there, in other countries, not having a good time in bad, conditions in terms of sleeping quarters or food they eat, things like that. And, they're here, like, for example,
do you feel it's our mission to help them?
Who is our, and then what?
USA.
And who is them?
When I say
so USA to help who? Who is them?
Let's say you talk about countries like their lives suck. Like,
Right.
everything's shit. Like, I fucking don't know where my next meal is coming from.
No, okay, I get what you're saying now. So,
Right.
what you're asking is it the United States mission to help less fortunate countries?
Correct.
Okay, so my answer to that is no. It should not be our mission. However, if it's something we can get done in the process, then more power to us. However, it should not be something that's in the forefront of our tax-paying dollars. And the reason why I say that is because I don't agree with the, I wouldn't say philosophy, but just the thought process of survival of everyone at the expense of the fittest, as opposed to survival of the fittest, just straightforward. Now, granted, it's a very cold way to look at it. I understand that. But when you have been working, I know, Dave, because you work for corporate America, as do I, you'll see people backstab each other left and right, just clawing at each other, not literally, but, in a figurative way, right, to climb the ranks. They'll set people up, to fail, or set you up in a trap where, you do something where you're thinking you're helping somebody, but in a way you, let's say, break company protocol or something. And because of that, now they got to fire you.
Right.
And then a position opens up, they slide in, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's really cutthroat. Human life is cutthroat in the United States in a different sense than it is, let's say, in a third world country where it is survival, on a daily basis in a third world country. In America, especially corporate America, it's survival on a daily basis. However, it's not your life in terms of, if something happens to you, you stop existing, as opposed to a third world country. So it's a different type of difficult. You know what I mean? So, and on top of that, I think we have enough problems here. I mean, we have veterans who, are homeless, veterans who can't get, medical aid through the VA. If you're watching the news at all lately, the head of the VA is in some, hot water for what people think he's doing in terms of, postponing medical treatment. So that way he doesn't have to dispense the medicine essentially to the VAs who need them. And so he's under fire for that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things in this country that we already have problems with. Obviously, the Affordable Care Act is one that Obama's trying to introduce, or he introduced, I should say. That tackles a whole nother problem. So as you can see, regardless of what aspect of life you're talking about, there's something here that hits home for everybody. Or, well, not necessarily. If you're ignorant to it, you're ignorant to it. But it's still there. The problem still exists. Just because you don't know about it or you look away from it doesn't mean it's not there.
Dude, it must suck being president. It must suck, man. People get old really fast once they become president. Because I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm president and then some dude brings me in a room and I'm coming in there with good intentions and everything like that, and I'm just man, you know what? We're just gonna fucking liberate countries that need it. Fuck all this, these meaningless wars, whatever. We got to see who needs our help and do it. But then you start to realize, okay. So anytime you really try to liberate a country, you're battling people who feel okay, this ground is a religious ground. And so, okay, if you go in there and you try to liberate that, religion is a very ideology that sticks in the mind like family, you fight for it more than anything. And
right.
So even if you try to do good intentions, when you leave, it kind of becomes that shithole again, and that kind of goes back. And so maybe, I don't know, I'm just being devil's advocate here, that the United States or the people in the higher ups in the government, they kind of realize, you can't really fix and liberate countries, so let's go after a country with really cool shit like oil and lithium and at least get something out of this, because chances are it's going to be fucked up when we leave, because it's not I think we kind of think of it this way. These are bad people that are being over here. You kill all the bad guys. Now we have more good people, and now it is liberated. But all you need is a few bad guys to kill a fucking 10 people who are harmless. And so a couple radicals and things like that survive. It kind of builds that back up. And I think it's kind of hard to think, to kind of wrap your head around trying to liberate a country with violence and leave it and expect it not to be violent when you leave it. you see a lot of trauma when you're a kid and things like that. And it's when you're trying to liberate with violence, it may not be the best strategy. I don't know a better one, but I'm thinking like, maybe they just understand like this may be an impossible feat. So let's just go out to countries that can help us out.
Well, I mean, as far as that, Dave, you're touching on a topic that's so complex because when you go to war for many different reasons, or it's possible to go to war for many different reasons. One could be for monetary reasons, like you were saying.
Whoa,
Oil.
whoa, whoa! We got to acknowledge the light in the room, and someone coming in. We cannot. Roommate of yours?
Yeah, roommate of mine.
Roommate of yours. I keep forgetting we're not on the video right now, but I had to say it because I know people are gonna ask.
Yeah, no worries. So, anyways, as I was saying, but it's such a complex subject in terms of what can cause it, what can stop it, things of that nature. Now, when you're talking about going in there and liberating a country, the thing that comes to mind is, generally speaking, you're going in with a good intention, because that's liberating to free someone, right? It's a good intention. But the thing is, who is to say that, the U.S. policy or Western society's idealism of good is correct? You know what I mean? We all live different lives,
Well, I've also thought about that too, but what you were kind of describing was there are countries that are worse off. And I think when you said that, you were kind of saying like there's a universal worse off. Like we don't know how good we have it, and then there's like people, man, like these people don't even have shoes, and no matter who you are, like walking on rocks, like that ain't good, or not being fed or anything like that. So like those are like the countries that I'm talking about. As far as like, yeah, if there's like for us to say that a house and a car, in a car is the best way to live, anything like that, I kind of understand what you're saying about that. But do you feel that there's countries that have like maybe this universal humanity that's just like no matter what, it fucking sucks for those people?
I would only say it's like that in the countries that are already war torn, in the countries that where you have to worry about death from unnatural reasons, such as a bullet.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you look at I've been watching a lot of shows lately, and some of those were what is it called? An Idiot Abroad. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
No. What does that come on?
It actually, it's on Netflix, but it's about this guy he's from England, he's from London specifically, and according to the show now, as a typical Londoner, he doesn't like to venture out of his comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So the producers of this show, what they did was they sent him on an epic journey to visit all of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Yeah. And then there's like 3 seasons so far. And then later on in the other seasons, he goes to these other nice places. They're not the natural wonders, but either way, he goes to these different countries and experiences and the different cultures. Right. And one place he went to was actually an island in the middle of nowhere, and he met a local tribe. And apparently the members of that tribe, they worshipped Prince Henry, I want to say, from England.
Okay.
But I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember which prince, but either way. But they are the happiest people, according to, I don't know, like they're just the happiest people on earth.
Okay.
And they have nothing. You know what I mean? So yeah, they have to worry about life in general in terms of death by, getting eaten by an alligator or something, or bitten by poisonous snakes, spiders. They don't have modern medicine out there, but they're happy. You know what I'm saying?
They like live off the land, or
yeah, okay, exactly. They hunt, they fish, they farm. But they're genuinely happy. Now, granted, maybe it's, obviously, well, I should say it's because, one of the reasons I should say is that they are unaware of modern technology and the conveniences of that particular technology has brought us.
Yeah.
So they don't know any better, but so they're happy. So it's like, it goes back to that phrase, ignorance is bliss. The less you know. When you were a kid, Dave, you would run around the yard, play football. You were just a happy kid. You know what I mean? For the most part, I would imagine. Well, but I can't even say this now because society's changing so much. But back in the day, you could just walk out and you wouldn't have to worry about what's for dinner. You would always have food at your table. Sure. You just play around with the neighborhood kids. You didn't worry about taxes and and rise of cost of crude oil and things of that nature.
Or
Because
like the
you were
biggest
ignorant and you
super
were happy.
soaker. Yeah, watching Doug, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because you were ignorant and you were happy. I mean, you can't get any happier than a kid with a big smile on his face who's getting his first ice cream from the ice cream truck that drives to his neighborhood on a hot summer day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just that smile on the face, or something as simple as on a hot summer day, turning on a water sprinkler and watching kids run through that, laughing and giggling. Like, how, as an adult, have you experienced that kind of happiness?
Well, I
Like,
have to say, last week I did because I went on a cruise,
right.
and I can tell you this, like I've I'm not married, or anything like that, so I can go out there and say this and confidently say this. It was probably the best week of my life. Like it was that
Really?
good. It was that good. Like
Okay.
so every day just got better and better and better. So
Right.
I get there on the cruise, right? And this is the first cruise, and I've never been on one, and I went by myself on this cruise. I was a little bit leery
Right.
about going by myself. Now I feel like if you're a single dude, like that's the move. Go on a cruise. I would never want to bring like a woman on a cruise to be on this after going on this experience. So, anyways, I get there first day, and everything's cool and everything, and then you have to go like sit at these tables at 8:15 for dinner and stuff. And like you can order room service, it's free, but it's just like it's a sandwich and stuff. So if you want like the really good shit, you got to go to like the dining hall like 8:15. So I'm going there, and at my table, my whole table is a group of mom and daughter. Like they're like this whole group of mom and daughter groups. And so all the mom and daughters love me, and then after they got all drunk and stuff like that, hang out with the daughters at the end of it. So, anyways, one of the daughters that was there, she was like on America's Got Talent or something like that. She's like a really good singer.
Hmm.
And so we're at like the karaoke. They have like all these bars and stuff like that and clubs at the at there. So I'm hanging out with her. Just beautiful. And we're at the karaoke thing, and that night it's auditions to play on the main theater in the main theater,
Right.
and so the songs are already pre-selected and everything like that because they have like stage production and stuff like that. So she sings there. She's auditioning for Britney Spears, "Hit Me Baby One More Time." Freaking nails it. Okay.
Mm.
So they're looking for, and so everything, they drink whatever. I'm just having a good time with them. And now they're looking for someone to sing a song here, and then they're like pulling me on stage. I did not want to go up there. I did not want to do this, but I'm just thinking, hey man, I got some hot women around me. I'm just I'm a little bit drunk, but
Mm.
I just figured like, oh man, when they pulled me up there, like literally dragged me up there, I was just like, I got on the mic, I was just like, hey, I'm not the greatest singer in the world. Help along if you know the words, and I just started clapping and it started getting the crowd involved. And I ended up making it to the finals for the main show in the theater.
Nice.
So like I didn't know it was gonna be this big, dude. It was like a live band. I had dancers. Like it was like all this choreography. We had like rehearsals and stuff. And it was just like it was in a theater, man. It was a lot of people and stuff. And like from then on the cruise, like everybody like was recognizing me. They were like, "Hey, that's that guy that was up there." I was
Right.
like this little celebrity on the cruise. So it
Right.
was pretty awesome, man. But yeah, man, I just like I just really, I just drunk. I was drinking a lot. I met a lot of like really cool people. Met a lot of interesting women, and like just freaking had a blast, man. It was so fun.
So, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm gonna have to burst your bubble here.
Yeah.
I asked you if you had in your adult life, an extended time when you were really happy, right? And I mean truly happy. And here's the thing: the word I'm using is true happiness. Okay. So, and here's the thing about that is, it's funny how everyone is always that's it's an archetypal question. People ask, hey, how do I get to true happiness? People, philosophers think about it. Gandhi with peace and all that stuff. So true happiness, in my opinion, is something that's different for everybody. But what isn't different is fleeting moments of happiness. Everyone has that. So you yourself put yourself in a situation that was different than your norm. You drank alcohol, which, obviously loosens you up. You met new people to talk to interact with, to develop a relationship with, whether it's temporary or long term. Either way, you were doing something that makes you feel good. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when you came back home, you didn't want to go home. You wanted to stay there. You wanted to be on that cruise with those new people. You know what I mean? However, if you are truly happy, not being ignorant, like you are, you're not ignorant, David. You're very well aware of the things around you, including whether it's politics, environment, whatever's in the news. You're not ignorant. So going back home, can you say you're truly happy as an adult now? Knowing what you know, as opposed to when you were a child. That's a large portion of your life. You know what I mean? So it's not just a week as a child. You're spending, from when you're coherent all the way to probably, I would say, right up to high school even. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, high school can be not as fun sometimes, especially, if you're bullied or things of that nature. And that's a whole other topic we can go on forever about, but I don't want to digress there. So, in your adulthood, knowing what you know, have you reached true happiness like you did when you were a kid?
Well, when you say like in the norm, the norm of kind of like, I guess, the everyday life, and then this is something that you take in an extension of that. Well, I feel like the extensions of the norm are all a part of the long path too. The term trip itself is also used in the forms of psychedelics also, and a matter of either enlightenment or a path. Well, I feel like I firmly believe that you can have trips without any type of drug experience. Not to say that I'm against that or anything like that, but I think that I experienced the equivalent of that. I
agree.
I would say that I have learned a lot of things to find out ultimately what I would want to do to lead to happiness. I think if I didn't take that trip, we probably wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Really?
Yeah. I think the trip showed me pretty much to be more confident about what I want to do, and kind of really let me have a lot of time to think and reflect about what I really want to do. And I kind of took a paper out and a little notepad, and I just wrote it down. I wrote all the things that I really like in life, and so I put a list on there. It was like I guess I love being around my friends. I like video games. I really like things about astrology, like watching stuff like the cosmos and stuff like that. I'm very interested in human behavior. I just started making a list of these things. And then on another side of it, I put on there about like things that I would like to do. And like I put musician on there. I put philosopher, and I erased it because I was like, oh, philosopher's not a real job. And I was like, why am I limiting my thinking? I just wrote it down again. Philosopher. I put on there. I actually like public speaking. I like science, and I wrote down all these different things. And then I put like future jobs that I thought I would enjoy and stuff. And then I circled all the things that were in common, and everything kind of led towards the podcast. Because I feel like there's a lot of different things that I have interest in, and I like talking about those things, and I'm very interested in people. And one of the things I've learned about by listening to multiple podcasts and things like that is that when you really sit there and you have a podcast, whether it's 1 hour or 3 hours or anything like that, you really get to know a person. You really do. If there's like, when you get glimpse of acquaintances of people either at work, or let's say a glimpse of a Facebook or whatever, there's a perception out there. There's many people I've met, I don't know about you, about friends. you look at their Facebook, it's nothing but smiles and stuff like that. And then you like meet them, there's all this bad shit happening in their life, but according to their Facebook, they look like they're the happiest people ever. And
Right.
so when you're at a podcast and you're having a conversation, it's very hard to kind of block internally who you are. And so that's why I think I would enjoy doing this, because I'm so interested in people. And I'm so interested in about life and what kind of motivates you and anything like that. And I think over a long period of time, when you have a conversation with something like that, it really kind of strips down, like, who they are. And I think you can't even achieve that on, like, TV shows, a little 5-minute blips of, like, someone arguing on Bill O'Reilly, this issue and this view and things like that. And then, and then it's like back to you. You get a glimpse of that person, but you don't really get a full understanding of who they are.
Well, I mean, in terms of that, I can see your point and where you're coming from. However, I would like to say that it depends on the person. If the person is intelligent enough to know, that they're more susceptible to showing who they are in a podcast, then they could also, if they're aware, then they could also be aware to, intentionally block that as well. You know what I mean? They can give, not necessarily, well, they can give elongated answers or whatnot, but they don't have to put emotion behind it.
Well,
but the thing is, you're going to be able to tell.
Well, I disagree in that aspect because I'm a big fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, and a lot of times he always brings on these scientists. And the scientists are just about things that he has questions about that he wants to answer. When
Right.
there's somebody bullshitting, you find out really about an hour in. You can tell because they're so used to repeating these same facts and stuff like that, and he's Googling stuff at the same time as when you're saying it.
Right.
And so it really filters out the fluff very quickly. It's very hard to keep a phony act up for like 3 hours. And that's how long his podcasts are. I'm not saying that ours is going to be that long or anything like that, but his are 3 hours. It's hard to maintain it for 3 hours. And it happens all the time. Like, there's a lot of people that were claiming that were experts and this and that. They had, all these great credentials and stuff like that. And then you kind of realize that these people don't really know as much as what they're saying. And then now the guests are becoming, they're more, they're more credible. The guests are now, it's, you don't have these kind of things. You're like, because you're just asking questions and you're Googling and you're just like, these things do not add up. And then like the person like comes off like a fool. And so it's, so I think that I do agree that you can hide things and stuff like that. But the thing about podcasting, when you're just having a conversation for 3 hours, it's hard to bullshit somebody from 3 hours straight. It's very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very difficult.
Okay. I mean, I'll agree with that. I'm not saying, I was just trying to put in the point that it could be possible. Is the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
That you can. Should that be your true motive, you could hide your true emotions in terms of, when answering questions and doing things of that nature.
Yeah.
So does that scare you?
Oh, it doesn't scare me at all as far as that, because I feel like I'm very much on a mission to either become a better human, to make sure that I learn as much as possible. And I think that one of the things that, I'm in the corporate world, the thing that I enjoy the most is we have these things called one-on-ones, and I have to do a certain number by the 15th to make sure that they know about new information and things like that. Most managers dread that. I love that the most, because that's when I feel like I get to really kind of know them a lot better. You can see kind of how their eyes diverge and stuff like that. If they're really into what you're saying, things like that. You build some rapport and stuff like that. That's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I always found myself gravitating towards that. I guess I'm the guy the type of dude that talks to the weird dude at the bar, because I know he's going to have some interesting stories and he's going to talk you off because, no one else is talking to him. But it's I feel like that would be fulfilling for me. I think that some people just, long drawn out conversation, stuff like that, they're like, I'll send a text message to you, or, things like that. One of the things I enjoyed about you is that we spend most of our communication talking voice on the phone, where I have a lot of friends where that does not happen.
Really?
And I feel like that humanity is lost there, and it's getting more and more that way. Yeah, I have friends that that solely we've only communicated by text.
Wow, that's terrible. It's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
Yeah, and so I feel like I feel like that's I'm not the only one. I think that's becoming more and more the norm, and I think that's a sad thing. And so I think like when I am in conversations with people and things like that, like how we're having now, to me that's very interesting. And I like to know kind of like what makes Andrew tick, and because I feel like you're a very interesting person, and I think that having you with this podcast, I think the world can kind of see who I find that's interesting too. Uh,
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I will tell you, I'm a very complex person who wants to live a simple life.
yeah.
Um, Obviously, my background has shaped me into who I am today, and I'm sure we'll touch up on many aspects of my past and my present, throughout the podcast. So, thank you for having me on.
All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up podcast number one. So I look forward to having many more. We're going to try our best to have kind of some more guests on there. As much as interesting people, I hope that everybody finds us out there to be. There'll probably be some times to repeat ourselves, so it's good to kind of have a mix up there. If you're listening and you want to either be a part of the podcast or anything like that, or give us some feedback, we're going to have some type of either Twitter account or some type of page where we can have people communicate. Keep in mind, this is in our beta phase. We kind of just called each other up, just like, hey, let's start our podcast right now. So, hopefully we can laugh about this 100, episodes in and be like, man, we did it. So, we definitely would love the support, and if anybody else knows how they can help us out to make this a better podcast, please let us know. I have some information to communicate to us by the next podcast, so please keep listening. All right, Andrew, you got any final words for everybody?
Well, first thing is, I'm assuming you're going to upload this via YouTube or Ustream, I would imagine, or if you're just doing the audio only, you're doing audio only, right?
I think on this one, because I don't have anything recorded in the video, but we're definitely going to figure out a way where we can incorporate the video and the audio, because I think having those two type of sources would kind of be important for people to kind of see. So it's a work in progress. This one right here, I think this is just going to be an audio only version because nothing's recorded for video.
Okay, well, I mean, that being the case, then if you guys want to tweet me at AKA422, that is my Twitter account. You can tweet me there with your comments and questions or whatever you have for us. Otherwise, we do have our individual Ustream accounts, and I have a Twitch account as well. So we'll try to get that one to you guys next, depending on which one we decide to go with. So that's it for me.
All right, then. Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I got a Twitter, but I rarely use it. I think I'll start using it more here. So I believe it's at Neohalix, Neohalix. So check that out. If that's not it, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next episode. Anyways, that wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoy and keep listening. All right.